Hey y'all, so I'm currently an aerospace engineering major in college, and while I was looking at the interesting history of aerospace and spaceflight, I found some wild things. For example, did you know that there's been space smuggling in real life? That's right, although it may seem like something straight out of Star Wars, there have been many cases of space crews bringing things up with them without the permission of their space agencies. The most famous example of this was on the first crewed flight of the Gemini program in 1965. Gemini 3. The mission was intended to be a simple shakedown test of the spacecraft. However, just before launch, astronaut John Young snuck a corned beef sandwich into a pocket in his spacesuit. About 5 hours into the mission, Young brought the sandwich out and offered a bite to Mission Commander Gus Grissom. As the astronauts ate, they noticed a large amount of breadcrumbs and grease droplets floating around. After this, they hastily stowed away their sandwich, not wanting the floating particles of delicious food to get into the spacecraft instruments and break something. This also resulted in their smuggling being discovered. After the mission, this so-called space crime was widely shared in the news and became an eternally famous part of this historical mission. NASA wasn't the only space agency to have issues with food smuggling. The Soviet Union ran into a similar issue on their Soyuz 29 mission in 1978. It was somewhat standard practice at the time for the Soviet space missions to bring a small box of candy with them into space. However, on Soyuz 29, cosmonaut Alexander Ivanchikov's wife smuggled a number of brandy-filled chocolates into one such candy box that was sent on a resupply mission to the Salyut 6 space station where the crew was staying. When the crew eventually opened their box of sweet treats, the smuggled chocolates flew out, taking 2 hours of the crew's time to retrieve the floating candy. Going back to NASA's Gemini program, we get Gemini 6A. This mission took place over Christmas 1965, and the Gemini 6A astronauts saw it fit to smuggle the resources needed for a Christmas joke. This took the form of astronaut Wally Schirra sneaking a small harmonica onto the spacecraft. He then brought it back out later in the mission, and, well, I'll just let you hear what happened.
Roger, Houston, Gemini 7, this is Gemini 6. We have an object. Looks like a satellite going from north to south, probably in a polar orbit. He's in a very low trajectory, traveling from north to south, and has a very high fineness ratio. Looks like it might even be a bonus stage. Very low, looks like maybe going to re-enter pretty soon. Stand by one. Looks like he's trying to signal something.
Our last example of space smuggling is more of a serious one. On the Apollo 15 lunar landing mission, the astronauts flying the mission smuggled a small metal sculpture of an astronaut with them. They then placed the sculpture on the moon's surface alongside a plaque listing the names of 14 American astronauts and Soviet cosmonauts that had passed away in the pursuit of space exploration. This statue, named The Fallen Astronaut, was commissioned by Apollo 15 commander David Scott and created by an artist whose name I'm not even going to try and pronounce. It serves to show that not all space smuggling is made with mischievous intent, and that although spacefaring people may seem alien, they are as human as the rest of us. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing. It makes it possible for me to continue making content like this. If you had anything else to add to the conversation about space smuggling, or if you noticed a mistake I made, please let me know in the comments below. My sources for this video are available in the description if you want to look further into these missions. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in due time.